Good morning, students. Now coming to another chapter, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay, the branch of botany that deals with the study of all aspects related to sexual reproduction, that is called embryology. Okay, embryology deals with the formation of male and female sexual gametes, formation of male and male gametophytes, fertilization, formation of zygote, development of embryo, development of seed and seed structure. All these can develop in the separate branch of botany that deals with that is embryology. Students, androecium, this is a male sexual organ. That is the third circle on thalamus. It is represented by some amount of stamens. They are also called microsporophytes. Every stamen is also consists of two parts. One is filament and the other one is anther. This anther may be represented by either one or two lobes. When it contains only one lobe, that is considered as uni or monothecous. But when it is represented by two lobes, it is called di or bithecous. Every lobe is also consists of two microsporangia. So, in dithecous anther, two microsporangia are present because only one lobe is there. But in dithecous anther, total two lobes are there, 2 into 2, total 4 microsporangia are present. These microsporangia, for example, this is a transverse section of dithecous anther. This is one lobe and this is another lobe. This is one microsporangium and this is another microsporangium. In this way, there are total 4 microsporangia in 4 corners. Okay. These microsporangia, the transverse section of dithecous anther, it is almost in tetragonal shape. And the transverse section of one microsporangium, it is represented by externally covered by epidermis. Okay. Epidermis is the outermost layer and represented by one layer of cells. Very thin cell walls are there. Epidermis cells play very significant role in dehiscence of anther. The epidermal cells present between the two microsporangia here, represented by very thin cell walls that constitute stomium. This stomium it comes in basis of anther. And the second layer in dithecous anther, this second layer, it is represented by endothecium. This is present just next to epidermis. Cells are vertically elongated cells with cellulose fibrous thickenings. They show hygroscopic movements. So they help in dehiscence of anther. Just next to this endothecium, there are 3 to 4 layers of very thin walled parenchyma cells. They constitute middle layers. Just before the dehiscence of anther, these cells are also undergo dehiscence. They help in dehiscence of anther. So, epidermis, endothecium and middle layers, these 3 layers, they help in the dehiscence of anther. And just inner side, that is innermost layer of anther wall, this is tapetum. This tapetum is represented by multinucleated condition and very dense in cytoplasm and is very rich in nutrients. This is the innermost layer of anther wall. Tapetometer nourishes the developing pole grains. It nourishes the developing pole grains, provide nutrients to developing pole grains. Just inner side of this anther wall, there are some homogeneous cells. This is called sporogenous tissue. Okay, sporogenous tissue. Now this sporogenous tissue is divides by mitosis, leading to the formation of microspore mother cells 2A. Now microspore mother cells it divides by meiosis, leading to the formation of tetrad. This tetrad is represented by 4 pollen grains. In this way, every mother cell present inside this sporogenous tissue, every microspore mother cell it divides by meiosis, leading to the formation of one tetrad consisting of total 4 haploid pollen grains. Always number of pollen grains is equal to mother cells into 4. Okay. Now, every pollen grain, it is a round-shaped unicellular haploid structure. This pollen grain, it is also represented by outer layer, exine, and inner layer, intine. Exine is made up of sporopollenin. Intine is made up of pectocellulose. Intine is made up of pectocellulose. Students, this exine is made up of sporopollen. This is a very hard and strong organic material which can withstand for over temperature and high over temperature and enzymes, and also withstand to strong acids. There is not the enzyme that will degrade the sporopollen. Sporopollen it also preserves the pollen grains even in fossils. Okay. At the same time, this exine is also represented by some germ pores. These germ pores, they are the circular places where the sporopollen is not deposited. Germ pores. These germ pores they help in the formation of pollen tube. Similarly, intine is made up of pectocellulose. This is a very thin layer. Now, these pollen grains. In 60% of the pollen grains, in 60% of the plants, pollen grains they release at 2-celled stage. Okay, actually pollen grain it divides by mitosis, leading to the formation of vegetative cell and generative cell. In 60% of the plants, they are released at 2-celled stage, but in remaining 40% of plants, they are released at 3-celled stage. Here, this generative cell it also divides by one more mitosis, leading to the formation of 2 male gametes. In 40% of the plant's pollen grains are shed from the microsporangium at 3-celled stage. But in remaining 40%, 60%, most of the plants, 60% of plants they are shed at 2-celled stage. Students, you know, the pollen grains of some plants, for example, Parthenia, okay, they also cause severe allergies. Sometimes this may be lead to severe allergies, bronchial affections and bronchitis. Some people it may lead to chronic respiratory disorders like asthma and bronchitis. Okay, generally this Parthenia plant is introduced into India along with the wheat seeds as a seed component. Students, you know, these type of pollen grains are also very rich in nutrients, so that they are also used as pollen products. Especially in Western countries, utilization of pollen products is a fashion. At the same time, these pollen products are also used to improve the performance of athletes and and race horses. Athletes and race horses. Okay. Similarly, viability of whole grain is also varied. Viability of whole grain is also varied. In case of rice, wheat, within 30 minutes. But Rosaceae, Solanaceae and Leguminaceae, few months. But in case of few months, when the whole grains are preserved at minus 196 degrees centigrade in liquid nitrogen, the pollen viability can be extended up to some years. Now, these preserved whole grains, they are also used as pollen banks, just like the seed banks, and are highly useful to breeder in plant breeding program. Now, coming to gynoecium. So, this gynoecium is considered as a female sexual organ, represented by some carpets, maybe free apocarpus. Example: lotus, micalia, and rose, and annona. But in some members, these carpels they are fused by power. Okay. At the same time, every carpel is also represented by three parts: ovary, style, and stem. And ovary is also represented by some ovules arranged systematically on the placenta. Arrangement of ovules and ovary on placenta is considered as placentation. Already now the placentation in angiosperms is 5 types, already explained in previous class. Marginal placentation, axial placentation, parietal placentation, free central placentation, and basal placentation. So every ovule is nothing but integumented megasporangium. Integumented megasporangium. Okay. Every ovule is also represented by a small stalk-like structure. This is ovule. Every ovule is also contained punicle, stalk-like structure, punicle. The part of the ovule which is the part of the puniculus which is attached with the body of ovule, this is considered as hilum. Okay. Now the diaper tissue present inside the ovule, this is considered as nucellus. Nucellus is also covered by one or two protecting sheaths called integuments, outer integuments and inner integuments. And these integuments they also leaves very minute opening, that is called micropyle. And at mature embryo ovule, there is a female gametophyte. This is called embryo sac. The basal part of the ovule where the funiculus chalaza, the funiculus integuments and nucellus are united, such region is called chalaza. Students, based on the number of integuments, these ovules are divided into three types: zero integuments, ategmic; one integument, monotegmic; two integuments, bitegmic. Monotegmic ovules have no integuments and no integuments and no micropyle. Example: loranthus. And monotegmic, only one integuments, Solanaceae members and Asteris members. Two integuments, monocots and polypetaloid members of dicots. That is the classification of ovules. So depending upon the position of this funiculus, chalaza and micropyle, ovules are divided into three types. One is orthotropous ovule. Orthotropous ovule. This is also called striped ovule. Example: polygonum. Okay. Second one, anatropous ovule. Most common type of ovule, ostrich members and solarius members. Body of ovule is inverted in position at the angle of 180 degrees. And campylotropous ovule. Body of ovule is placed at right angle to the ovule. Body of ovule is placed at right angle to the funiculus, and body of ovule it bends downwardly, and embryo sac is slightly curved. Example, this is a fabrication members, bean. In this way, ovules are total 3 types. Okay. During the time of female gametophyte development, this is nucellus, integuments. Deep within the nucellus, one of the nucellar cell it develops into archisporial cell. Now, this archisporial cell it develops into the large megaspore mother cell. Now, this mother cell divides by meiosis, leading to the formation of total 4 megaspores. 3 megaspores undergo disintegration, and 4th megaspore, this is considered as functional megaspore. Now, this functional megaspore it divides by mitosis. It undergoes 3 generations of 7 mitotic divisions, leading to the formation of 8 nucleated female gametophytes. This is considered as embryo sac. This is called embryo sac. Okay. So, matured embryo sac is represented by total 7 cells and 8 nuclei. The 3 cells present towards the micropylar end, this is called egg apparatus. Central cell is egg apparatus and surrounded by 2 synergids. These synergids also contain piliform apparatus that helps in the absorption of nutrients from the nucellus. Okay, and 3 cells present towards the chalazion end, they are considered as antipodals. They are considered as vegetative cells of just before fertilization or just after fertilization. These 3 cells undergo disintegration so that they have any importance in fertilization. So, they are considered as vegetative cells. And remaining central cell, total cell is considered as central cell. This cell it also contains 2 polar nuclei, and just before fertilization, these 2 polar nuclei are combined to form secondary nucleus. This 7-celled, 8-nucleated female gametophyte in angiosperms, this is considered as embryo sac.